this is Noela reporting from the Nostradamus, log number 2. We're still en route to Andromeda. Mission isn't changed, transporting Earth's preserved animal DNA to planet Galileia. The cargo is secure, the ship is stable, and yes, the transmissions are still delayed. If I don't respond right away, it's not personal. I miss a lot of my friends and I miss the food. Space cuisine, as you can imagine, is not very inspiring. This week I outlined the beginning of Neil's story. I use one of those digital app that mimics post-it notes, which feels kind of ironic considering people used to physically cover entire walls with them, right? For story timelines, for detective boards or conspiracy theories. But now it's all virtual, so you can put this little fake post-it in the app and write as much as you want on it, which is kind of convenient, I have to say. The structure is starting to make a lot more sense. I mapped out the sequence leading to the major turning point, which is the moment Neil loses his face, obviously. The problem is I'm missing a little connective tissue scene, little bridge, something that's going to make the transformation inevitable rather than shocking. It's always been difficult to bring Neil to that moment, so I have to figure out, what I can add to the beginning to lead to that moment. To solve that, I think I need to deepen the supporting character as well. Mary and Lily, if you followed the comic, you might remember them. They've been around, and now I need to give them more dimension, more motivation, and more friction. I'm thinking about having, maybe a little argument between them and Neil, even though they're best friends, but right before the big incident, which is Neil losing his face, I think they should have a little tension, something that, makes them go once he disappears, crap, we shouldn't have, done that, or we should have done more to prevent our friends to get into that situation. The rewrite is definitely forcing me to ask a lot of questions, a lot of harder questions. Who was Neil before the curse? What kind of character he was? What defines him after? What are his friends? What are they gonna do to help him while he's stuck in his journey in the world beyond? Yeah, all that good stuff. So it's always been a strange story. So it's hard to make it work in a way. It's all the elements are there. I'm very happy with most of the story, especially the middle part that I wrote a long time ago now. But I needed to be really good before I go into any kind of drawing, because I've done it before, and again I would start drawing sequences from the script, and then the script changes because it doesn't, the opening doesn't quite work, and if the opening doesn't work, then I can't go on to tell the full story. So hopefully with this new draft, once I'm done with it, I'll be so happy with the story, I'll be able to lock it in, and then I can go into the comic and start making the drawings from the script. People often ask me where I got the idea from for Faceless Neil. It was originally inspired by folk music, a lot of stop motion film, and also my long fascination for voodoo aesthetic. I spent quite some time watching documentaries and reading about the voodoo religion. It's often portrayed in Western media as something sinister, but historically speaking, it centers around healing, protection, and communication with ancestors. It's a very, very rich and interesting history. I've always been a little fascinated by it. Like most belief systems, the darkness people associate with it often says more about the misuse than the origin. And there's a lot of beauty there. There's a lot of great stories and aesthetic, visually and spiritually, it's very enticing. So I want to integrate more consciously, those inspiration into the new draft as well. Other things I worked on recently, some logo concept, especially for this little enterprise. So you may, see it at the end. I had to animate a little something for it, which was fun. Didn't take too long. I just used my iPad and, After Effects to put it together. I wanted to make a logo that was simple, memorable, like, the one you see before a movie. I'm not a special effects specialist, so I can do a lot of things with animation and motion graphic and things like that, but I can't go and do crazy, three-dimensional things because I've never got into 3D. I've always been more of an analog media person, like drawing physically and using 2D platforms. So it's like it was a challenge to think about how can I make a logo when nowadays most logo you see for production films are very intricate. You got a lot of things going on. The most famous studios they went from a simple logo usually to like a big 3D render. And I just wanted to do something more simple and more clean. And I always love doing this little simple animation of stars, like shooting stars. So I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to do that. Other things I worked on this past week, I also reworked on a pitch deck for the story called Love at War. That script I'm very happy with. I wrote it a while ago and it's definitely something that I want to work on. I really, really want to start a comic soon. I'm thinking for this project to keep it simple. Um, I was think I was thinking of using ink, minimal drawings, very like storyboard like drawing for a comic. It's a beautiful story. It's a love story during wartime. I think it's kind of timeless. There is a lot of like comics that were done in that genre that were done in black and white, so that's why I'm leaning toward that aesthetic. I think it'll fit well with the theme. I would love to pitch it at some point, maybe to some people. Like traditional publisher doesn't matter anymore. They don't exist. But we still need to do presentation. Like I would love to arrive on Galileia and present the project to the leadership team and see if that's something that I can like distribute to the colony there. I really want these stories to travel with me through the galaxy and reach new audiences, and we'll always need entertainment and good stories, like always, no matter where we are as human being. I think we always need to connect and tell stories to each other. I don't know. I often wonder what form of life we're gonna encounter out there, but they haven't reported any intelligent life form yet, which seems very unlikely to me. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of biological like found and like just things out there that we aren't aware of. So this is coming to an end. We had a minor meteorite shower on day 9 of this cycle, nothing really dramatic. The autopilot handled most of it. I assisted where needed. The ship sustained no significant damage. I've started referring to the AI in charge of the ship as David, because it felt a little weird to just talk to someone you're traveling with, well, someone, something, and not give it a name. So David remains stable for now. If you have any question, feel free to send a note. As you know, they take a while to reach me, but I'm always happy to see them. So send away. The ship remains on course. AI pilot functioning within normal parameter. The cargo is stable. Minor meteorite interference resolved. All systems are nominal. This is Noella from the Nostradamus signing off.